Good morning, good people, and a warm welcome to this Eucharistic celebration. Today is a beautiful day during this Christmas week, and today the church celebrates the feast of Holy Family. So, with this joy, let us begin this Eucharistic celebration. The Lord be with you. A reading from the Holy Gospel according to Saint Matthew. When the Magi had departed, behold, the angel of the Lord appeared to Joseph in a dream and said, "Rise, take the child and his mother, flee to Egypt, and stay there until I tell you. Herod is going to search for the child to destroy him." Joseph rose and took the child and his mother by night and departed for Egypt. He stayed there until the death of Herod, that what the Lord had said through the prophet might be fulfilled. "Out of Egypt I called my son." When Herod had died, behold, the angel of the Lord appeared in a dream to Joseph in Egypt and said, "Rise, take the child and his mother, and go to the land of Israel. For those who sought the child's life are dead." He rose, took the child and his mother, and went to the land of Israel. But when he heard that Archelaus was ruling over Judea in place of his father Herod, he was afraid to go back there. And because he had been warned in a dream, he departed for the region of Galilee. He went and dwelt in a town called Nazareth, so that what had been spoken through the prophets might be fulfilled. He shall be called a Nazarene. The Gospel of the Lord. Today is not a Sunday Mass. Today is the Mass of the day. But we, the Catholics, in our Catholic Church, we celebrate the feast of Holy Family. And so on this beautiful day, I'm not going to preach to you a sermon, but I want to share with you a story, a real story of a man. There was a priest. Every time he began his sermon, he would begin with these words. My wife used to tell me, do priests have wives? Hello, are you here? Do priests have wives? Then how come this priest started his sermon with these words, my wife used to tell me? Well, here is the story. This man was born in 1919 in a place called Rimini in Italy, North Italy. As you grew up, when he was about 19, 20 years old, he was recruited in Italian army to fight in the Second World War. And he was placed in Russia during the Second World War. Many of his companions and friends lost their lives during the war, but he survived. And so after the Second World War, he went back home. And as a young man in his late 20s, he was thinking, what should I do about my life in the future? One day, as he was thinking about his life, he saw his old friend who fought with him in the battle, but he knew him as a very sad and depressed person. He had all the riches, all the wealth, but he was very sad. So this day, when this man, whose name is Wakarini, Probo Vaccarini, When he met his friend, so happy, he asked him, I used to always see you sad and depressed, but now I see you very happy. How come? What is the secret of your change? And he said, I went to Padre Pio for confession, and after that confession, I am a changed person. And so this man, Vaccarini, also decided to go to San Giovanni Rotondo for confession. You know where is San Giovanni Rotondo? San Giovanni Rotondo? No? San Giovanni, San means saint, Giovanni means John, Rotondo means circle. So St. John's Circle or St. John's Junction, traffic junction. San Giovanni Rotondo is the place of Padre Pio, where the body is kept. When I was studying in Rome, I've been there 2-3 times. So this Vaccarini, who was born in North Italy, lived in North Italy, he goes to South Italy, San Giovanni Rotondo, to meet Padre Pio. He goes to Padre Pio, makes his confession to Padre Pio, and Padre Pio tells him, get married, have a big family, but a holy family. Get married, have a big family, but holy family. Now, Wakarini is thinking, to have a big family is easy. How to make the family holy? Having a big family is easy, no? But how to make it holy, that's the point. And so after that confession, he goes back home and he thinks about what Padre Pio said. And second time, he goes to San Giovanni Rotondo to meet Padre Pio. And after meeting Padre Pio, he is again discussing about his future. And Padre Pio tells him, I already told you, go ahead. I already told you, go ahead. Have a big family, but a holy family. And so now he thinks how this is going to happen. So he continues to go for Mass and roam around in the church and help around in the church, discovering, discerning his vocation. And so he sees, as it happens many times, he sees a nice girl in the church, very regular for Mass, very devout, very faithful to the Eucharist. And so they meet, they fall in love, they get married. God blesses their marriage not with 1 gift or 2 gifts, but with 7 gifts, 4 boys, 3 girls. Remember, Padre Pio said, big family. 4 boys, 3 girls. Now, when they were living their life, the boys, the children are growing. One by one, all the 4 sons enter the seminary, wanting to become priests. All the 4 sons. Among the 3 daughters, 1 daughter joins a convent, lay consecrated life. Not a cloister or religious, but lay secular nun. As the children were growing up in the seminary and in the convent and at home, unfortunately, his wife expires after living 18 years of marriage together. She dies. And he was only 51. Wakarini became a widower at the age of 51. Now, in the Catholic Church, once this marriage bond is broken by death, one partner who is alive is free from that promise, is free from that contract. So now he was free, he was single once again. And so his sons who were in the seminary, they inspired him and motivated him to become a deacon. So he enrolls himself for theology classes, and after the theology course, he becomes a deacon, a married deacon. Here in Qatar, we don't have a married deacon, but in Kuwait, we had one married deacon. He passed away last year, but he served the Kuwait church many years. So after becoming married deacon, he was all the time in the church, serving the church. All along, he was always faithful to the church and the church activities. He, his wife, and his children, never late for Mass. In fact, always early for Mass. Now you know a married deacon can perform all the functions in the church except two. One is he cannot celebrate the Eucharist and he cannot sit for confession. All other sacraments he can perform, the married deacon. So he was doing all this. He was fully involved in the church activities. Now there was one problem. When he was serving as a deacon in the church, he always had a problem to arrange a priest for Mass. You know, in Europe, there is a shortage of priests. And now, most of the churches in Europe, all the European countries, there are either Indians or Africans who are serving in the parishes. The proper European priests are very, very less. So he was finding maybe difficult, there were no priests. Sometimes in Italy, since I was there, I know one priest has to manage 3-4 parishes or 3-4 churches and 3-4 chapels because there are no other priests. One day when he went back as a deacon to San Giovanni Rotondo to make his confession with Padre Pio, so to say, he heard a voice of Padre Pio talking to him. Of course, Padre Pio was dead and gone, but he heard a voice of Padre Pio saying, "You will be a priest. You will be a priest." And so after consulting his church authorities and his sons and daughters, he gets ordained priest at the age of 69. At the age of 69. And as a priest, he has written, even as a deacon, he is the author of 15 books and many other good works that he has done. His son, eldest son, who was a priest, he would tell his people, "My father is my father, is my spiritual director, is my confessor, he's also my son as a spiritual son, and he's also my brother in the fraternity of priests." 2019. He was born in 1919. 2019, he celebrated his centenary 100 years. And he celebrated the Mass with all 4 sons as concelebrants. And when he was celebrating the Mass, after the Mass, when they interviewed him, he said, "Even though I'm 100 years old, I still feel like a newly ordained priest. I still feel like a newly ordained priest. I love the church. I love to come for Mass. I love to be in the church and do all church activities. But now I'm 100 years old. My sons are with me. I'm very happy. Now I'm waiting for my Lord to call me. I'm waiting for my Lord to call me back." Those of you who read the Word of God every day, those of you who come for Mass every day, you know yesterday's gospel. Yesterday's gospel is about Simeon. When Simeon went to the temple, he was also an old man, 80 years old, very regular to the temple. Whether he felt like going or did not feel like going, he always went to the temple. He was never late. And the day he went, God revealed to him the Messiah. After holding the Messiah in his arms, he said, "Oh Lord, now I can depart. Now you can call me. I am ready for my death." This Father Vaccarini died in 2020 at the age of 101. At the age of 101. Can there be a better example for us than the family of Father Wakarini? As we celebrate the Feast of Holy Family, Pope Leo XIII invites all Catholic families to imitate the Holy Family of Nazareth. What about your families? Are they holy? In your family, do you give priority importance to the Mass, to the Eucharist? Is your family always on time for the Mass or always late for Mass? Is your family during the Mass attentive or busy with the mobiles, eating chewing gums? Are your families praying? Do they pray regularly at home? As family, do you pray your family rosary every day at home? Do you bring up your children in faith and in prayer and fear of God? What is the priority you have put in the minds of your children? You need to think about all this. We need today a revival of families in their faith. All the great civilizations have come to an end because of family breakdown. Family is a unit that holds the society, humanity, and the world. If families break down, automatically societies break down. Do your families give importance to extramarital affairs? Do your families entertain extramarital affairs? Do your families entertain abortions? Do your families promote divorces, separations? If these things happen, automatically the end of the church will come. The end of society will come. Lot of evil will come. All of us will suffer. If you want our church to be vibrant, we need families that are based totally on faith. We need families that pray together. And we need families that love their church in a very great way. May the good Lord bless each and every family here in Qatar, that they too may, like Father Vaccarini's family, may always give first place to God, be always faithful to God, be always faithful to the church and the spiritual activities. Amen.